Okay, let's really lean into this. For many of us, despite working hard, getting degrees, investing in skills, there's often this feeling, isn't there? This gap between the effort we put in and where we want to be financially.
Hmm. Absolutely. That sense that the cost of living just keeps climbing.
Exactly. And saving serious money feels like climbing a mountain sometimes. And actual financial freedom, that can seem like a distant dream, maybe something you've almost forgotten about.
Yeah, or maybe you're juggling student debt. Right, that just hangs around.
Or credit card debt that never quite goes away. And then you see the news, these reports about massive wealth, billionaires, millionaires to some really young ones too. And part of you just feels, frustrated, maybe even a bit angry.
Yeah, you might start thinking, is this whole game rigged? Did they just get lucky?
Or born into it, maybe. Is the system just not set up for most people to really get ahead?
It's a super common feeling, and it runs deep in how we talk about money in society.
We all have those dreams, right? Paying off the house, that dream car, traveling without worrying about the cost.
Or just, not having to check the price tag on everything.
But for so many people, they just stay dreams, always out of reach. And that can lead to this feeling of, just accepting it. Like, that kind of wealth isn't for people like me.
Right, a kind of resignation sets in.
But what if? What if that whole perspective, understandable as it is actually missing something crucial? What if there's like an actual equation to building wealth, a sort of science behind how money really works that frankly, school never taught us?
Okay, I'm listening.
And what if understanding that equation means you don't have to give up on those dreams? No, look, I'm not talking about some magic trick or a get-rich-quick thing.
Definitely not. That's not what this is about.
No. The path we're going to explore today, based on our sources, it's tough. There are struggles, ups and downs. You have to face some difficult truths, things society kind of papers over.
It requires real commitment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And honestly, many people probably won't stick with it. It's demanding. But for those who do, our sources suggest there's wealth possible beyond what you might even imagine right now.
And maybe more importantly than the money itself.
Exactly. It's the freedom. The freedom from ever worrying about money again. It's about getting back your time, isn't it? That's the real prize.
Time is the ultimate currency.
So, are you ready to maybe challenge some of those deep-seated ideas about money?
Let's do it.
Great. So today, we're diving deep, drawing heavily from material inspired by thinkers like M.J. DeMarco. We're going to try and dismantle some of that conventional wisdom and build a new way of thinking about money.
Okay.
We'll be asking things like, what do you really believe about money? Is it just something you work for, earned, inherited? Is it evil? Good? Are you desperate for more? And crucially, have you been chasing it the right way?
Rewriting the script, challenging our deep-seated beliefs about money and wealth.
What's really fascinating here is just how much our early experiences, our environment, our upbringing, how much it shapes these really deep beliefs about money.
It's not just a small influence, is it? It kind of sets the foundation.
Exactly. It forms our whole financial worldview, often before we even realize it's happening. Like, if you grew up where money was always tight, always a stress, you might just absorb this idea that, wealth is hard to get. Maybe even that there's something wrong with having a lot of it.
Or you could go the other way, right? Become totally driven to make as much as possible to escape that feeling.
Precisely. The complete opposite reaction.
Yeah.
But both reactions come from these unexamined beliefs about how money actually works.
And the school system doesn't exactly help fill in the gaps, does it?
That's a huge point. Our formal education mostly just doesn't touch practical wealth creation or market dynamics or financial independence.
Yeah, it leaves this massive void.
And that void gets filled usually by pop culture, maybe family stories, bits and pieces of advice, often leading to, false beliefs about money.
Beliefs that hold you back without you even knowing it.
They become these invisible barriers. They shape your choices, what you think is possible. They really can stop you from getting wealthy. Sometimes it even creates this weird conflict inside you.
Like you want money, but you also feel kind of bad about wanting it or about rich people.
Exactly that. You desire the freedom, but maybe you distrust the process or the people who've achieved it.
Which ties into those broader cultural stories, like from Hollywood.
Oh, definitely. Think about how often movies show the rich as, the villains. Backstabbing, corrupt, entitled.
It's a classic trope.
It is. And it's not just harmless entertainment. It seeps into how we think collectively, subconsciously. So the big question for you, listening right now, is, have you absorbed that stereotype? Do you find yourself buying into it, maybe without realizing letting it affect how you see wealth and wealthy people.
Because that creates a real roadblock, doesn't it? If you think becoming rich means becoming one of them, compromising your values.
It's a huge internal conflict, a major hurdle that often goes completely unrecognized.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because that whole stereotype wealth is inherited or gotten through shady means the data just doesn't back it up.
Okay.
Our source material points to this really compelling report from WealthX. They track the ultra wealthy, right? People with like $30 million or more.
Yeah, the UHNWIs.
Right, and this report found that, get this, 68% of them are self-made.
Wow, over 2/3.
Yeah, and it's not just one study saying this. The source says basically every other credible study shows the same thing. It's a huge majority.
So that idea of it being mostly inherited money or a totally rigged game, that's largely a myth.
The data strongly suggests it is. It fundamentally challenges that narrative.
And self-made here means starting from scratch, or close to it.
Exactly. People who often started with very little, maybe even faced real poverty. Think about Warren Buffett built his fortune from smart investing, starting relatively small.
Or Howard Schultz, Starbucks guy, grew up poor.
Oprah Winfrey, same story, incredible poverty. Then you've got Bezos, Musk. Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, started with just $5,000 and an idea.
Right. These aren't just anomalies. They're examples of a pattern.
They're consistent, data-backed examples, people who forged their own path to incredible wealth.
Now that statistic is powerful.
Yeah.
And those examples are inspiring, absolutely. But I can imagine someone listening thinking, okay, self-made, but didn't they have some advantage?
Yeah.
Good education, connections, right place, right time. Luck must play a role, surely.
That's a fair question. How does the source material, like DeMarco's thinking, address that? Because luck and privilege, they feel like real factors.
It's a really critical point. And yeah, the sources we're drawing on, they don't completely dismiss external factors. Opportunity, environment, even just pure luck, they can definitely give you a boost, a tailwind.
Okay.
But what these studies and this whole philosophy really emphasize is that those factors are rarely the main reason someone becomes ultra wealthy. It's more about a specific method, a particular mindset, applied consistently over time.
So it's less about the cards you're dealt and more about how you play the hand.
Exactly. It's about what you do with whatever situation you're in, and crucially, how you understand and interact with the market with value creation. Luck might crack open a door.
But it doesn't build the house.
Precisely. That takes understanding something deeper about how value is created and exchanged.
Which brings us right back to that key question then, doesn't it? What do these incredibly successful self-made people know? What do they understand that's so different from what most of us were taught? Because the source material is pretty blunt about this. The equation most of us use for wealth, it's just wrong.
Fundamentally flawed.
Yeah, it's a limiting way of thinking. And until you really get that, truly grasp it, the path to serious wealth, serious freedom, it stays hidden. Or, at best, it's just a really, really slow climb.
The flawed equation. Trading your most precious resource for a trapped future.
Okay, let's unpack this conventional way of thinking then. The standard equation, the one society basically hands us. It's pretty simple, right?
Yeah. Money, salary, from a job.
That's the default path. Go to school, get qualified.
So you can get a good job.
Yeah.
That becomes the main goal of education, past a certain point.
Exactly. You get the degrees, the certificates, all aimed at trading your time and skills for that regular paycheck.
Which provides stability for sure.
It does. But let's assume, if you're listening to this deep dive, you're aiming higher than just stable. You want to make significant money, right? And ideally, not wait until you're 65. You want financial freedom sooner.
Right. You want speed and magnitude.
If that's the goal, then this standard equation, this job equals salary model, it's almost certainly never going to get you there.
It's a path to comfort, maybe.
Right?
Middle-class existence, but not typically to that kind of life-changing wealth and freedom we're talking about.
And why is that, fundamentally?
Well, if we connect it back to what we said earlier,
Yeah.
it comes down to that one crucial resource, the most important one we have, time. The one thing you spend that you can absolutely never get back. In a typical job, how much money you make is almost always tied directly to how much time you put in.
It's a direct trade, hours for dollars, years for salary increases, maybe.
Exactly, a linear exchange.
Our source had a pretty stark example of this, didn't it?
It did. A very clear illustration. Let's say you earn $20 an hour. Decent wage in many places. You work a standard 40-hour week.
Okay.
To reach a total accumulation of $1 million, just the gross amount, would take you nearly 24 years.
24 years. Wow.
And that's the really crucial part. That's before taxes. before any living expenses over those 2.5 decades. Housing, food, car, kids, everything.
And inflation. That $1 million won't buy nearly as much in 24 years as it does today.
Precisely. Inflation eats away at its value steadily over time.
So the reality is, on a typical salary like that, becoming a millionaire, it's maybe possible by retirement age?
If you live incredibly frugally your entire life, maybe, but by then.
Most of your time, that precious resource is gone, slipped away.
You've traded decades of your one life for that money. And when you look back, does it feel like a fair trade? Often, probably not. Especially if the amount isn't life-altering.
It leaves people feeling stuck, maybe unfulfilled, like they're just running on a treadmill.
Which brings us back again to that central puzzle. How do these young, self-made millionaires and billionaires do it? What are they doing differently? What's their secret?
The New Equation, Part 1. Unlocking wealth through perceived value and problem solving.
Okay, here's where it really shifts. This is where we start seeing that big difference in thinking. The reality is, the wealthy, particularly the self-made ones, they're not just working harder within the old system, they have a better equation.
A fundamentally different way of understanding money in our kind of economy.
Right, and this is the absolute core idea, so really tune in now.
Yeah.
Stop chasing money.
Sounds backwards, doesn't it?
Totally counterintuitive. We're taught money is the goal, the thing to pursue. But our source, echoing DeMarco, says no. Money isn't the target, it's the result. It's a byproduct.
A consequence of something else.
Exactly. The real rule of the game in a capitalist society is this. You get paid in direct proportion to the perceived value you create.
Perceived value. Not just effort, not just hours worked.
No. It's about how the market sees the worth of what you offer. And the market is, well, it's everyone.
It's us, consumers. People making decisions about where to spend their money, your friends, family, neighbors, the country, the world.
And that shift from focusing on your effort to focusing on the market's perception of your value, that's huge. It changes everything.
It really does. It forces you to think externally about impact rather than internally, about just doing the work.
So let's talk about that distinction. Hard work versus perceived value. The source used the example of sports stars.
Yeah, that's a good one because it often sparks debate. People complain, football players are overpaid, they earn millions for, kicking a ball.
Compared to teachers or nurses, for example.
Right. But if you look through the lens of perceived value, it starts to make economic sense, even if it feels unfair sometimes. For players to get paid millions, there first has to be a massive market-demanding football.
Millions of fans willing to spend money.
Exactly. People have to see huge value in it, the entertainment, the tribalism, the skill, the drama, enough to spend billions collectively on tickets, merchandise, TV rights, betting, fantasy leagues.
A whole industry.
When that demand is astronomical, and a top player significantly contributes to fulfilling that demand with their unique talent.
Their perceived value skyrockets.
In the eyes of that huge market, yes. They're paid for their ability to capture and deliver on that massive collective desire, not just for running around.
Okay, that makes sense. And it highlights a tough truth.
Which is?
It's rarely about how physically hard you work. The source contrasted a cleaner with an accountant.
Right. The cleaner works incredibly hard physically, sweating, tiring themselves out daily. The accountant might sit at a desk all day.
Yet the accountant earns far more.
Why? Again, perceived value. Not because cleaning isn't valuable or necessary work, but because the market perceives the skills required as less scarce, more easily replaceable.
Almost anyone could learn to clean relatively quickly.
Well, whereas the accountant likely spent years learning complex rules, getting certified, and crucially can potentially save clients huge amounts of money on taxes or improve their financial position significantly.
Higher perceived value due to specialized skills and direct financial impact.
Exactly. Scarcity and impact drive perceived value.
But hang on, we just said even a high-value job like an accountant is still mostly trading time for money. It's not the path to rapid, massive wealth.
Correct. It's still largely tied to the hours they bill or the salary they draw. So that brings us back. How do we increase perceived value exponentially? How do we break that time link?
Like the Musk and Bezoses did.
Yes. What's that next level of value creation?
Okay, so what does this really mean for building serious wealth? If perceived value is key, how do we generate massive perceived value? The first step, the foundation of this better wealth equation, is actually quite simple to state, but powerful. If you want money, solve problems.
That's the core. Not get a job, not work hard, but solve problems.
Yeah, just sit with that for a second. Pretty much all money, all economic activity flows from this idea. If something solves a problem people have,
Money will flow towards the solution. People will pay to make the problem go away.
and the bigger the problem, or the more people it affects.
The bigger the potential reward for solving it. It's almost a direct correlation.
Solve $1 million problem, meaning a problem that costs people collectively $1 million in time, money, or frustration. Your solution could make you millions.
Solve a billion-dollar problem.
And the potential reward is in the billions.
Makes sense.
Think about Amazon again. What problems did it tackle? The sheer hassle of going to physical stores, finding parking, limited selection, wasted time.
Then the early online problems, slow delivery, uncertainty.
Right, Amazon attacked all of that. Convenience, massive choice, better prices, faster shipping, problem after problem, solved.
And then AWS, solving the huge problem of scalable computing infrastructure for businesses.
Exactly. Bezos didn't set out saying, I want to be rich. He relentlessly focused on solving these massive billion-dollar scale problems for millions of consumers and businesses.
And the market rewarded him handsomely for creating that immense value.
So here's that paradox again. If you've just been chasing money directly, you've been looking in the wrong place.
You've been focused on the effect, not the cause.
Precisely. You shouldn't be looking for money. You should be looking for problems, pain points, frustrations, inefficiencies, things people complain about.
And then?
And then, even more importantly, you need to figure out solutions to those problems. And once you have a viable solution,
Build a business around it.
yes, the business is the vehicle that delivers your solution to the market, creates that perceived value, and generates the wealth as a result.
The new equation, part 2. Engineering scalable and automated solutions.
Okay, but this raises a really common reaction, right? Someone hears, solve problems, build a business, and they immediately think,
Whoa, hang on, that sounds huge. Am I supposed to invent the next Google, the next Amazon? I can't code, I don't have millions in startup capital.
exactly, that feeling of, it's too big, it's impossible for me. But that's falling back into those old patterns of thinking, isn't it?
It is. The idea isn't necessarily to launch a global giant on day one.
No, start with the problem. Always start with the problem. But maybe not a world-changing one initially.
So how do you find these solvable problems?
You have to actively listen to the market around you. Pay attention. What are people complaining about? In your job, your hobbies, your community, online forums?
What frustrates them? What do they wish existed? What's inconvenient?
Yes. Listen for the friction, the pain points. Those everyday annoyances are often problems just waiting for someone to solve them. They exist at every scale.
It's like market research, but just by paying attention to conversations.
It absolutely is. But then you need that critical filter we talked about.
Right. 2 key questions.
1. Is this a problem that you can actually solve, given your skills, interests, resources, or what you're willing to learn?
And 2, is it a problem worth solving?
Meaning, is the pain big enough? Are enough people experiencing it? And crucially, are they willing to pay for a good solution?
Because not every little complaint is a viable business opportunity.
Exactly. But many are. This brings the big idea of solving problems down to something tangible, observable, and potentially profitable. You can start small.
Okay, so finding a worthwhile problem is step 1 of the new equation. What's the absolutely critical second part?
This is where we really break free from the time for money trap. The second part is finding a scalable solution to that problem.
Scalable, meaning?
Meaning your solution needs to be able to reach and impact a large number of people, a magnitude, without requiring a proportional increase in your personal time or effort.
If your solution only helps one person at a time, you're basically back to being paid for your time?
Even if it's a high rate, yeah. You've just created a better paying job, not necessarily a wealth-generating engine. Scale is the multiplier.
Can you give some examples of scalable versus non-scalable?
Sure. Think about starting a single local restaurant. Great business, potentially, but not very scalable, is it?
No, you're limited by your location, number of seats, staff.
Physical constraints?
Right.
But taking that successful restaurant and creating a franchise model.
Now that's more scalable. You're replicating the system.
Exactly. You leverage other people's time and capital to expand your reach and income beyond what you could do alone.
And what about really high scalability?
That's often where digital comes in. Think software. An app, a SaaS product, an online course,
Build it once.
and potentially sell it millions of times. Once the initial development is done, the cost to serve one more customer online is often close to zero.
No extra production, shipping, physical limits.
It scales almost infinitely, virtually. That's why tech companies can grow so massive so quickly. Their solutions are inherently scalable.
Try finding that infinite scale in a regular job.
Good luck. That decoupling of your time from the output, that's the magic of scalability. It's absolutely key.
But there's a trap here too, isn't there? Something people need to watch out for.
Oh, definitely. A really subtle but important one. Creating what feels like a business, but is actually just a job in disguise.
How does that happen?
You have to constantly ask, does this solution need my direct time to make money? Let's use the example from the source. The highly skilled yoga teacher charging $100 an hour.
Great income per hour.
Fantastic hourly rate. But fundamentally, it's still a job. There's a hard limit on how many hours they can teach in a day or week.
Their income is capped by their time.
Precisely, time-bound. They've made themselves a well-paid employee of their own business.
Okay, so how does that yoga teacher make it scalable?
Instead of one-on-one lessons, what if they created an online yoga platform? Recorded classes, maybe some live streams, accessible 24/7 globally.
Create the content once.
And potentially thousands pay to access at any time, without the teacher needing to be there for every single session. That is scalable.
Decoupling income from time again.
It's absolutely critical. Don't underestimate this point about scale. It's the difference between a service provider and an owner of a wealth-generating asset.
And automation fits in here too.
Massively. To truly scale and free up your time, you need systems and processes. Automation allows your business to run smoothly, consistently, even when you're not there.
Like handling customer service automatically. Or marketing.
Exactly. Using software, workflows, AI, anything that handles repetitive tasks without needing direct human intervention for every step. Think CRM systems, email automation, chatbots for basic queries.
Building a machine that works for you.
That's the goal. And related to that is delegation and outsourcing.
Not trying to do everything yourself.
Absolutely not. That's a huge mistake entrepreneurs make, thinking they have to wear all the hats or that nobody can do it as well as them.
Ego gets in the way.
Big time. If there's a task someone else can do, an employee, a freelancer, an agency, and it makes financial sense,
do it. Outsource it. Delegate it.
yes. Because your time is the most valuable asset you have for strategic thinking, for finding the next problem, for overseeing the growth. Trying to do everything yourself just ties you back to that time for money limitation.
Leverage other people's expertise.
And their time. It's smart business. So once you have that scalable automated solution, your job becomes getting it to the market.
Making it accessible.
To everyone who has the problem you're solving. Marketing, distribution, making it easy to find and buy. And remember that crucial point.
It's not about your passion.
Not primarily. The market doesn't care about your passions in isolation. It cares about its problems. Your passion might fuel you, keep you going.
But the focus has to be on solving the market's problem effectively and at scale.
That's the path.
Reaping the rewards, the paths of acquisition or enduring legacy.
Okay, so let's fast forward. You've done it. You identified a real problem. You built a scalable, maybe even automated solution. Your business is profitable, running with good systems. What happens next? What are the big outcomes?
Well, our source material suggests you generally arrive at a fork in the road at this point. Two main paths tend to emerge.
Which are?
You either continue running and growing the business you've built, maybe creating a long-term legacy, or you cash in. You sell the business.
The exit, the acquisition.
Exactly. Often called a liquidation event. This is that moment, potentially life-altering, where someone else, usually a bigger company, buys what you've created.
They buy the solution, the brand, the customers, the systems.
Everything. It's the ultimate validation, in a way, of the value you built. All that effort, the risk, the late nights, it culminates in this major financial event.
We hear about the big ones, right?
Yeah.
Like Instagram getting bought by Facebook.
For $1 billion, yeah. Or PayPal selling to eBay back in the day for $1.5 billion.
And Elon Musk walked away with a huge chunk of that, didn't he?
Around $165 million, straight into his pocket. And those are just the famous examples. These kinds of acquisitions happen all the time at various scales all over the world.
It's the point where the abstract value you created becomes very concrete cash, often enough to provide serious financial freedom.
It can be completely transformative for the founders. It's the payoff for successfully solving that problem at scale.
But selling isn't the only successful outcome, right? What about sticking with it?
Absolutely. Continuing to run the business is just as valid and sometimes even more strategic or fulfilling. There are lots of good reasons for that.
Like what?
Well, maybe you just love the company. It's your creation, your baby. you're passionate about its mission, its people, and you want to see it continue to grow and evolve.
You're not ready to let go.
Or maybe you see even more potential down the road. You think you can add more value, grow it bigger, and perhaps sell it later for an even higher price, maximizing the long-term return.
Strategic patience.
And then there's the situation we touched on earlier, maybe you've built it so well, with automation and delegation.
That it runs mostly without you.
Exactly. It runs largely passively in the background, generating significant income without demanding much of your daily time.
Creating true passive income. That frees up your time for other things.
New ventures, travel, philanthropy, family, whatever you want. Often it's probably a mix of these reasons: passion, strategy, and the passive income element.
So whether you sell for a big payday or keep running a successful, perhaps passive enterprise,
either way, you've done it. You cracked the code, you found a problem the market cared about, you solved it effectively and scalably.
and the market rewarded you for creating that value. That's the success.
That's the win, according to this framework.
The ultimate freedom. Reclaiming your time, the true currency of wealth.
Okay, so let's bring this all together then. You've achieved this financial success, whether through selling or building a lasting business, but why? What was the point of it all?
That's the deeper question, isn't it? Beyond the mechanics.
Our source suggests something really profound here. For most people pursuing this path, it was never really just about the money itself.
Money's just a tool, right? Paper, numbers on a screen.
Its value is just what we collectively agree it is. It's a means, not the end.
So what was the end goal then?
From the very beginning, the real driving force, the ultimate destination. It wasn't the dollars, it was the freedom.
Ah, freedom. That's the word that keeps coming up.
Exactly. All those dreams we talked about, paying off debt, buying things, traveling, they weren't really about the objects or experiences themselves. They were about the feeling.
It's sensation of liberation.
Yes. The ability to do what you want, when you want, without that constant nagging voice in the back of your head asking,
Can I afford this? Do I have enough vacation days? How will I pay the bills? Will my pension be enough?
what dreams do I have to give up because I just don't have the money? Freedom from those questions.
That's the real prize. Unburdened choice, unencumbered time.
That's the true currency of wealth, isn't it? Your time, fully reclaimed.
And what's fascinating then is that the biggest lesson from all of this, it might not even be about money or business strategy fundamentally.
What is it then?
It's about time, that one resource we all have that's absolutely finite that we can never get back once it's gone.
Which forces you to ask some hard questions about how you're spending it now.
Exactly. Is spending the biggest chunk of your irreplaceable time on a job you don't even like?
Yeah.
Is that trade really worth it in the long run?
Is your life settling into that cycle?
Mm.
Work, commute, TV, sleep, repeat until you retire.
How many more hours, days, years are slipping away in that pattern, perhaps unexamined?
Now look, it's really important we acknowledge some people might be fine with that. Or they feel they don't have another choice right now.
Absolutely. And that's perfectly okay. Respect for different paths is crucial. Maybe for those listeners, this was just interesting food for thought, a different perspective.
And that's valuable in itself.
Totally. But then there are others listening. People who really feel that pull towards the other side, that deep desire to never need to worry about money again. People who crave that ultimate freedom. So for those people, the message, maybe restated one last time, is clear.
Right.
Stop chasing the money directly. Focus your energy, your creativity, your observation skills.
And chasing problems, identifying them.
And then building scalable, ideally automated solutions to those problems. That's the equation. That's how significant wealth is generated and sustained.
If you really want that liberty, that freedom from financial worry,
Then let solving meaningful problems become the meaningful struggle in your life. Will it guarantee happiness? Fulfillment? Who knows?
only you can answer that.
But if the struggle itself has meaning, if it's directed towards creating value and solving problems, maybe that's a struggle worth embracing.
So thinking practically, what else should people keep in mind? We've covered a lot, but it's a huge topic.
And it really is. We obviously had to simplify things here. Business, money, entrepreneurship, they're incredibly complex subjects.
Way too much for one deep dive.
For sure. But if you're feeling motivated to really dig deeper, the source material we drew inspiration from, particularly the work of MJ DeMarco.
Books like The Millionaire Fast Lane.
Exactly. Those provide a much more detailed roadmap, the nitty-gritty strategies and mindset shifts involved. Highly recommended if this resonates.
And it's also important to remember that point about failure, isn't it?
Crucial. Circling back to what you said at the start, most people won't hit a home run on their first try, or their second, or third.
Setbacks are part of the process.
Absolutely. The key is to fail, learn from it quickly, and move on. Don't get paralyzed. Each failure is just data, refining your approach, getting you closer to finding a problem worth solving and a solution that works.
And this problem-solving mindset, it's useful even if you're not starting a business right now, right?
Definitely. Even in a regular job or career. Start asking, what problems am I solving here? How can I solve bigger problems? How can I create more value for my employer or their customers?
Because if you can do that,
You create leverage. Leverage for a raise, a promotion, more responsibility, more opportunities. It makes you more valuable within that existing structure too.
so it's a powerful lens regardless of your path.
It is. But the core message, the big takeaway we want to leave you with today, remains the same.
Stop chasing money.
Start chasing solutions to problems.
That's the fundamental shift.
That's the equation for freedom.
So just to recap our journey today, we kick things off talking about that common feeling, maybe being stuck on the losing side of a rigged game, especially when you see vast wealth elsewhere.
Then we explored how our core beliefs about money get formed, often subconsciously, by our background and by society, challenging that simple rich people are bad stereotype.
We exposed the big limitations of the standard path, just trading your limited time for a salary, a path that rarely leads to true financial freedom.
And then we unveiled that alternative, powerful equation. Wealth comes from creating perceived value by solving problems the market cares about.
And ensuring those solutions are scalable and ideally automated, breaking the time for money link.
Ultimately, realizing the goal isn't just accumulating money, but achieving the freedom that money represents, the freedom to own your time.
So as you go about your week, thinking about these ideas, try shifting the question you ask yourself. Instead of just, how can I make more money? Maybe start asking this.
What pressing problem, big or small, that I see around me is just waiting for a scalable, impactful solution? Maybe a solution that I could create.
The answer to that question, it might just be the key to unlocking the freedom, the wealth, and maybe even the purpose you've been looking for.